Hello everyone, my name is Moses Tan Bing Feng, and I will now present to you the Orangutan Problem. Since the 90s, our drinking water has greatly improved, providing 2.6 billion people water to drink worldwide. Despite that, in Malaysia there are still people who do not have access to that privilege. These people would be the orang asli. They make up 26% of Malaysia's population, and they live in deep rural areas, away from any man-made construction. In other words, no energy, no distilled water, not even frozen food for them. Their resources all come as raw materials, from hunting, from collecting, and so on. And without a doubt, all these materials are bound to have bacteria and are not exactly clean when they are obtained either. Water plays a huge part in all these problems, and they do not have it. This is where CUP comes in. The communities unite for pure water. People from urban cities joining hands together with the Orang Asli to solve their water problem. One of the Orang Asli communities had their water problem solved with CUP, having pipes built from a purified water storage tank to a well built in their village. Water will be sent to the tanks first via a water pump, then to the well, where the Orang Asli will just need to pump the water up instead of walking miles for water. This made a big impact on women and children especially, as they can now bath and wash easily. At the same time, it also made their sickness cases lessen more. From this, Malaysia made a significant progress on its water, sanitation, and cleanliness services as one of the world's most promising developed nations today. In the recent years, Malaysia has gone through lots of flooding. Even when dams were built to overcome this issue, the past aftermaths, the floods caused the natural environment to be obstructed, making the victim populations very vulnerable to floods. However, the World Water Vision project was launched in 2020 to deal with this issue and the clean water issues as well. It is yet to be known on how they will tackle this problem. However, slowly but surely, Malaysia will soon overcome these problems.
Okay, my name is Wong Kai Chen, and I'm the member of Group 12 with Sean and Moses. We will be discussing about the clean water and sanitation, and I will be presenting on the urbanization and the industrialization strain conditions. I will just briefly explain what I wrote in the report about the urbanization and industrialization strain conditions. According to the experts, by 2030, 80% of Malaysia's population will be living in the urban cities. Urbanization and industrialization will expand the need of water supplies. These elements are creating a lot of tensions in the world while also raising the level of water contaminations. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ng Si Sean, and the first thing I have written in this report is how our focus group in Malaysia is not getting clean water and sanitation. Vulnerable population groups like slum dwellers, undocumented immigrants, rural people, and detainees in prison still do not have access to clean water and sanitation. This is further proven thanks to Leo Heller and UN Special Reporter on the Human Rights to Safe Drinking Water and Sanitation, who found that access to safe drinking water and sanitation is still a concern for some population in Malaysia after collecting data from Malaysians. He also provided some advice to the government on how to improve the population's access to clean water and sanitation. The next thing I have written within the report is the institutional and legal related issues regarding water and sanitation in Malaysia. There is no agency in Malaysia responsible for the planning and management of water. There is only one Council of Malaysia related to water and sanitation, which is the National Water Resources Council. However, it is not considered an agency. The current institutional bounds have also caused regulation for sanitation and drinking water programs and policies, especially for rural areas, to not exist.
The seventh of the Global Goals for Sustainable Development focuses on accessible, secure, sustainable and modern energy for all, enhancing international cooperation and encouraging investment, as well as expanding the infrastructure and implementing new technology in developed countries are the top priorities for putting this plan into action. As modern energy is fundamental to human development because it is the main reason industrial has contributed to the near continuous economic growth that has been achieved globally since that time. However, although this is the emphasis, there are some drawbacks to the three energy goals. For example, distribution sources of renewable energy such as solar and biogas could help rural communities achieve energy access. There will always be a possibility that rising energy costs will lead some households to go without network access. So, as for the number of Malaysians with access to electricity, has increased rapidly from 78 to 87% between 2000 and 2016 in Malaysia. The constant reliance on fossil fuels makes the increase around 60% of greenhouse gas emissions and is going to make drastic changes to our climate system. For instance, more than 40% of the world's population is relying on unhealthy fuels for cooking on a daily basis. However, there have been an effort to promote other affordable clean energy, with renewable accounting for more than 20% global electricity generation in 2011 in Malaysia. For example, Malaysia also has tried to lessen their gas drilling, oil refineries, wind turbines, electricity transmission lines that requires significant amount of money to bring it online. The constraint of financial and human capital often result in some among us being left out of the modern energy society. To ensure Malaysia and other countries can afford electricity by 2030, renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and thermal must be invested in.
Affordable and clean energy can be defined as renewable energy in Malaysia. Malaysia has the high potential to increase the renewable energy such as solar and reduce others' consumption of energy without affecting Malaysia's economic growth and productivity. But Malaysia still face some barrier and argument about renewable energy as financial barrier, administrative and political barriers because of the highly cost of renewable energy technology and machine. Besides that, Malaysia's business environment also do not support the renewable energy because it does not have commercial viability. There are also lack of appropriate support mechanism distorted most of the institution and investor in Malaysia. So as the recommendation, Malaysia can invest foreign investor and institution to join the renewable energy project in Malaysia to reduce the highly cost problem. Besides that, Malaysia also face the social cultural barriers about renewable energy because the public's limited awareness of important and development of renewable energy that can bring a lot of benefits to our country and environment. The publics are more interested lower cost energy than higher cost renewable energy. So as the recommendation, the related departments such as government need to implement some events that can promote the knowledge of renewable energy to public in order to let them realize the benefits of renewable energy to support the renewable energy project in Malaysia. Therefore, Malaysia need to increase the awareness of affordable and clean energy in public mindset.
According to the line chart, it shows the percentage of population with access to electricity in two different countries, which is Malaysia and Cambodia. The reason of comparing between Malaysia and Cambodia is because of economic stability. Malaysia has better economic than Cambodia. In 2009, Malaysia has reached to 99.3% and Cambodia is to 41.44% of population with access to electricity. The long-term objective of SDG, which is Sustainable Development Goals in this population of access to electricity, is keep it at 100%. So after that, Malaysia has successfully reached 100% and Cambodia is 69.03 in 2015. So Malaysia is keeping the percentage after the few years, and Cambodia is also keep increasing their percentage. We come on another line chart that show that the percentage of population primarily using clean cooking fuel and technology for cooking in Malaysia 2000 to 2016. Malaysia has hit the 94.53% of the population in 2001. Before 2001, most of the Malaysian is using coal wood as their cooking fuel. It will release the CO2 and causing greenhouse effect. After all, the percentage of population keep increasing slightly. In 2016, the percentage has reached to 96.3%. The reason is the citizens who live in Malaysia is start using some high technology for their cooking, such as electric stove and air fry. We come to another line chart. It shows that the CO2 emission from fuel combustion for electricity and heating per total electricity output in Malaysia from 2000 to 2017. It was a main share of intensity in energy production, calculated by dividing the CO2 emission from fuel combustion by the electricity output. In 2000, it started increasing from 1.75 terawatt-hour to 2.06 terawatt-hour in 2008. However, this scenario has indirectly become more serious until years 2008. The scenario has got better in 2009 and it was significantly dropped to 1.55 terawatt-hour. The volume is keep decreasing in the past few years, and the long-term objective is to hit a volume of 0.
Hello everyone, nice to meet you all. I'm Lim Jiashen and I'm going to talk about Sustainable Development Goal number 13, which is climate action. Climate action is the long-term variation of temperature and typical weather matters in a place from day to day or even from year to year. The cause of the weather matters is less predictable because of climate change. For example, in 2017, Malaysia has a total of 498 reported flood cases. But the ultimate cause of the climate change problem is human activity. This is because humans cutting down trees, burning fossil fuels, and farming livestock, that these actions are continuously influencing the climate change as well as the earth temperature. Furthermore, in 2006, our Prime Minister Razak made a statement that Malaysia has committed to reduce carbon emission. This is the plan of Sustainable Energy Development Authority, in short form is SEDA, that has established of adding palm biodiesel into diesel fuel. And this plan is to solve the problem of how power generation can have renewable energy and facilitate public transportation while confining private vehicle ownership. Malaysia has also strengthened the forest management and conservation. This is because there is 23.1% of trees has been lost in Malaysia since 2000. The majority of forests were 86% in Sabah and Sarawak. In terms of some workers' illegal deforestation, Sabah and Sarawak has established a powerful environmentally oriented forestry ministry to lead the way of protecting the forest.
In 2006, Malaysia began to implement a low-carbon development plan. Malaysian carbon emissions have a serious impact on the urban environment, so we want to reduce carbon emissions by improving buildings and transport stations. Many cities in Malaysia have formulated and implemented low carbon vision and plan. And the plan can also help city move towards low carbon development and reduce the problem for urban carbon emissions. With the financial support of the Global Environment Facility, my country Ministry for Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change and Sustainable Energy Development Agency have implemented the green technology application for the development of low carbon city project. The project is to change the city planning and development method to promote the application of green and low carbon technology. In addition, in 2017, the government implements the Green Technology Master Plan and create a framework to facilitate the integration of green technology into the development of Malaysia plan. The field for the Green Technology Master Plan includes energy, manufacturing, transport, buildings, waste, and water. The goal for Green Technology Master Plan is to strengthen green technology and develop renewable energy to reduce carbon emission.
Good afternoon everyone, my name is Orangutan and today I'll be continuing on SDG Goal 13, which is the climate action. So climate change issue is currently happening in Malaysia, and to overcome this issue, one of Malaysia's company, Indah Water, is trying to overcome this issue by recycling the wastewater and turning it into clean water and supplying it to Malaysia's household. To overcome this issue, first Indah Water must collect the wastewater, and first they must filter out the unwanted stuff like solid waste and rubbish that is in wastewater. After filtering, the water will be transferred to water treatment plant, and there Indah Water will put in some chemicals in order to kill the unwanted waste, unfiltered waste, and kills any germs, harmful germs especially. So after the water has been filtered and treated, it can be supplied to their local water supply like Air Perak or Air Selangor, and during this process everyone will get the clean water. So by doing this, Indah Water actually make the climate better by releasing lesser waste into the environment, therefore making water and air pollution less severe. So other than that, Malaysia now is dealing with the climate action. Their action is actually quite poor. Why? Because one of the challenge of Goal 13 is to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide into the environment by using any energy that produce large amount of CO2, like using petroleum or coal. Since 2020, as you can see the graph, the value of CO2 per capita is at 5.17, but since then the value has been rising, and currently at 2017 it has reached 7.72. This means that CO2 has been increasingly produced by the energy as mentioned above, and to overcome this, we as Malaysian citizens can reduce the emissions of CO2 with the energy above by taking public transport that produce less CO2, like LRTs, maybe trains, or maybe even drive lesser so that it will produce less carbon dioxide, like sharing a car with a friend to a same destination. Lastly, for industries, factories can use catalysts or filters to filter out CO2, or maybe reduce the CO2 emission that is released into the environment. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jai. Now, I'd like to talk about life below water. As you know, plastic has been the most dangerous pollution that brings damage to the ocean. It's very conscious that most of the marine life belongs there. A lecturer of oceanography and environment said that there are plastic with big or small particles flows to the sea, where the marine life mistaken thought that it was something they could consume. Through the track record of that, most of the marine life refuse to eat as they have suffered system disorder. Some prover has been stated that, such as turtle mistakenly plastic as jellyfish, albatross found dead with plastic in their stomachs, dolphins have plastic stuck in their fin, and rubber bands stuck in the middle of the body of fish. If no action is taken, the weightage of plastic will exceed the weightage of fish year by year. In Malaysia, we have a huge coastline with 600 types of coral and 2,000 types of fish. Several marine parks was protected, but more things need to be done to help the marine life. At least 10% of the marine ecosystem need to be under marine protection. Some part of it is Big Island, Pulau Limau, Pulau Song Song, and Tanjung Tuan. Fisheries Department also need cooperation from government and local community to help to save the marine life. According to the World Wildlife Fund, reducing the usage of plastic is the most effective way. Humans are suggested to use metal straw, and individual is also suggested to learn more about how important is marine life to us. The World Wildlife Fund come out with a website with the individual to voice out their opinions and their knowledge to people around the world.
My name is Liu Wei Hong. Today I'm going to discuss about two main reasons which cause marine pollution. The first main reason is continuous use of marine vehicle, which is shipping pollution. Malaysia is a famous trade port in Southeast Asia. The spring up of e-commerce will lead more and more ships enter our country's harbour. Huge amount of ballast water will flow into the ocean since the ballast water contains microorganisms that affect marine life. Ships are also a serious threat to coral reef and its related organisms. Anchoring of ships will destroy these natural wonders underwater such as coral reef. Ships must be sailed slow and steady, and scientists must give solutions to ensure that ships won't affect marine ecosystem anymore. The second reason which causes marine pollution is plastic pollution. Malaysia had imported the largest quantity of plastic waste among Asian countries to increase national income. Since our country didn't have enough space for landfill, all of this plastic waste will be discarded into the ocean around Malaysia and carried by the current, and it will show up in the island around our country. Many creatures in the ocean will be harmed by all of the plastic waste, such as plastic straw in sea turtle nose. The idea of 3R must be kept in every citizen's minds to ensure that plastic pollution will be improved. That's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Wong Jianxian. Today I want to talk some the advantages about the issue of life below water that we find in Malaysia. Firstly, Malaysians will continue to not know the issue of life below water, what's happening in Malaysia when Malaysia government and people do not pay attention to protect life below water. In this situation, ocean and marine resources will suffer big problems because fisheries will continue use and damage of the ocean to do their economic activity such as overfishing. It will make life below water resources are affected. After that, marine pollution may lead to lasting unknown consequences for the survival of marine life in the short and long term in Malaysia due to the increase in polluting activity such as oil spill, plastic pollution. A study estimated that Malaysia produced 940,000 tons of poorly managed plastic waste in 2010, of which 0.14 to 370,000 tons may have leaked into the ocean. It will harm life below water within marine environment when we do not sustainable management and protection of the marine environment and resources. Lastly, marine resources will be impacted due to the Malaysian port trade become more and more divided. This is because Malaysia is the world's fifth connected country in terms of shipping line connectivity, according to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. It will make many boats are sailing at sea to export and import products. In this situation, we will destroy the marine ecosystem and increase the number of endangered species.
I'm Chu Ranting and I'm from group number 12. So what I've written in the report is about life on land. Based on the research that I found, there are a lot of human activities that will hurt the ecosystem. For example, like chopping trees and make trees become paper. So life on land is basically to protect, restore and promote us to like stop hurting the ecosystem. Like you can still like chop trees but less amount so that it will not hurt the ecosystem about and the animal will not lose their habitats. So that's all for me.
Hello, my name is Cameron Chu and I'm going to share my thoughts on the Goal 15, which is life on land in the sustainable development. Malaysia is a land of great natural beauty, great with natural resources and mega biodiversity. However, much of it has been attacked and invaded by human activities. With the growing realization of the damage we have caused among the governments, companies and individuals, significant efforts have been made to preserve what remains and to strike a balance between nature and economic growth. Orangutans are critically endangered as man-made forests including oil palm plantations have been cleared over the last 40 years. In 2019, the Pongo Alliance has launched a new conservation approach which included oil palm growers as an active partner in creating an environment in which wild orangutans can coexist in mixed forests or agricultural landscapes. They wanted to extend it in the future across Borneo and Sumatra's orangutan range. 8 out of 10 species of hornbills face local extinction threats in Malaysia as a result of forest destruction, wilderness and habitat deterioration. Malaysian Natural Society works with politicians and the Orang Aslis, the native people of Malaya, as hornbill guardians. Any of these majestic ecosystems, along with their intrinsic biodiversity, paleontology and archaeology, were ruined by human activities and prejudice and in some cases, pollution or slopes. In 2015, Malaysian Cave and Karst Conservancy launched to conduct research, awareness raising and the preservation of karst and cave systems.
In the conclusion of topic Goal 15, government should try to cooperate more with other partners. As we mentioned earlier, Malaysia has tried to cooperate with Pongo Alliance and the Orang Asli, and we can see that they can work efficiently and can end up with a good result. This is because the partners have a better understanding to the current state of ecosystem. and that can give us a great suggestion to improve the ecosystem. Therefore, it's possible the government implement a project efficiently with a partner. Malaysia government should also implement the public awareness campaign to the citizen for protecting the nature. We're aware more of the ecosystem are destroyed by human activities, and these activities may cause an irreversible destruction to the environment. Before it's too late, the activity should be prohibited, and Malaysian citizens should increase the awareness of protecting the ecosystem.